Hello YouTube, welcome to my channel. I'm Bella and today I'm going to be doing a film review. I'm going to be reviewing Dune Part 2. Massive spoiler warning ahead. If you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch this review. Dune is a thinking person's saga, so we're going to get into the nitty-gritty politics of the whole thing. To the review we go. To the Dune Part 2 review. Everybody has heard of the David Lynch film. Seen here, it's rated 15 for a reason, but was limited by the technology of its time. But it is an excellent version of the basic story. Everything is here. Dune Part 1, excellent. Really, really good. You know why it's good? Because the plot is so beautiful. And I'm not talking about the story plot. I'm talking about the plot to kill the Atreides. It is so beautifully done. The beautiful Baron, who is both beautiful in mind and body. His body was beautiful once. There's a whole reason why he's no longer beautiful. Cough, cough, spoilers. Cough, cough, somebody's grandma. Let's just say did not have a great time with him as a Bene Gesserit concubine. And let's just say gave him some poison that made him... But I don't know whether he got the flying powers because of that. Who knows? Anyway, moving away from the Reverend Mother Helen. Good old granny. Yes, we are going to spend quite a bit of time talking about Paul's grandparents. Did tell you about the spoilers. There is also the William Hurt version, which is done by the Sci-Fi Channel. A lot of people moan and complain about this one, but this one is book accurate to a T. You can't fault it. Yes, the costumes are a bit dodgy, but they take the monologues from the play. See, play, it's not a play, it's a book, but they take the Baron's monologues and they read them. Literally, the Baron in this is reading them as if they were Shakespeare. It is beautifully done. It is book accurate 100%. Love this version purely for that. The technology is almost where it should be. It's way better than this, the David Lynch, but it's not as good as the movie. I'm talking about Dune Part 1 here. This one, Dune Apocalypse, also known as Children of Dune, also known as Dune Messiah, continues the story on from Paul to Paul's children. So there are the three known versions. Dune Part 1, the film, excellent. Dune Part 2, oh, what were they thinking? Parts of this were just dire. And I'm not talking about the special effects. The music was off as well. It wasn't as good as with that. I mean, originally, Part 1, 5 out of 5. This one is like coming out as a 3.5, which is shocking. And I know they wanted it to be different, but oh my goodness, the only saving grace was Fade. They actually gave Fade some proper attention, which was really good. That's the Baron's second nephew, youngest nephew, not the Beast Raban. Anyway, moving on, we're going to review the whole of this. The first part, like the first hour of this was good. You had Paul becoming Usul, becoming Muad'Dib, becoming the little sand mouse, learning the ways of the Fremen and becoming a Fremen fighter. He takes Chani as his paramour and life is sweet. But because he's a ducal son, you know stuff is coming. Crash comes in Gurney Halleck with his little da-da-da-da-da-da song and things rapidly change. And this is really important. The power of faith, the power of patriarchy in this version are so strong, it's ridiculous. Yes, in the book they are. There is the divide between the Fremen because the Fremen want a Fremen person to lead their people to freedom, not to go off on a holy war and wipe out all of the other galactic houses as they do it. But it's really important. They've really played on some of the things. We're going to get to Alia. I'm going to save her up. I have got some comments on that. There's some stuff I like, some stuff I don't. Jessica's arc is quite unique, as we know. But overall, the first part of when he's learning Fremen life, that is book accurate. Then we get the dithering over the water of life. It doesn't matter which version you watch, whether it's this one, or Dune Part 2, there is always dithering over the water of life. Has to be dithered over. This one was painful. I was like, this is painful to watch. We're not getting anywhere anytime soon here. And then once we've taken the water of life, we're fully embracing this. And this is where we get to the problem. And the problem is Alia, how they've done Alia. And in fact, time scaling this is a problem. Because unfortunately, what happens in the book is Paul and Chani have a son. And he gets to about 18 months old. He's left in a siege. And it's one of the siege that the Harkonnen / Emperor bombs, and the child dies. And this is what really forces Paul to be, you know, more Hadib. He really gets hardened by that experience. And the fact that they cut that out ends up for them whining and dithering over the water of life, and you end up with this weird friction between him and Chani that doesn't necessarily need to be here. They give her a lot about being a freedom fighter, but she wants to just, you know, fight for the Fremen, for the Arrakis, for Dune. She doesn't want the whole, you know, emperor seat that he's going to inherit. But there's nothing Paul can do about that. He is the only son, only living son of Duke Leto Atreides, which means he is going to inherit those subatomic nukes. He is going to inherit Gadi Prime. Thank you, Grandad Baron. He is going to inherit that. If all of the other Harkonnens suddenly drop dead, the only other people that can inherit Gadi Prime are Jessica and her son, because Jessica is the daughter of Baron. And Helen, the Reverend Mother, knew this. That is why she goes to visit them. There is specific things that Helen does with her daughter that she doesn't do with anybody else's child, and it's because she is the Baron's daughter, even though the Baron doesn't want anything to do with her. Though we did have a lovely flashback in Dune Part 2. And this is really important because of how Jessica was conceived. I'm not going to even go there. There's no hope of the Bene Gesserit ever controlling the Baron, apart from Take That, which was basically Helen giving the Baron the finger and telling him to where to go. But you have to admire the bravery of these people. Paul's grandparents, I've been meaning to speak about them for some time, are really, really important, because Helen Mirren, very good with plans. The Baron, very good with plans, has a mentat. Where were the mentats in this movie? The mentats. Yes, we had the lovely Piter, who's a really good mentat, who really sharpens the Baron's already sharp edge, because it was Piter who tightened up the Baron's plan to assassinate the Duke. See, that's the thing. The first one's really good because it's this little whispering in corridors and who's going to stab who, and then it happens, and then you're like, oh! And then this is the slow build-up. It was really great that we got to spend time with the Fremen, but then they turned it so quickly. And actually not having Jessica around to help guide Paul by pushing her off being in the Reverend Mother too quickly, and really pushing the idea of Paul's the saviour, actually took away from some of the advice and support that she gives to Paul, particularly after the death of his and Chani's son. See, this is so important. It should have been there, but it wasn't, because having Paul and Chani having a child actually allows the elephant in the room to be talked about, Alia. Alia is a really important character. I love the fact that we could hear her as a fetus. I know in America that there's the whole issue with America and abortion and current times and patriarchy. We're going to park all that there in a bubble because that's not relevant to what I'm discussing the plot. She is preborn, so, and in this film they've done it, oh, Alia, it's all coming from Alia, she's going the way. But the thing is Paul isn't actually the Kwisatz Haderach, he's actually the fulcrum, but he comes before his time, just to throw another spanner in the works to all of this. Having Alia born is really important as a character. She actually is able to go places that no other character can go, because A, everybody is terrified of her. B, everybody is terrified of her. C, the Baron is terrified of her, because she is an abomination. This, and it's written about, very much how I love Stilgar, how they've done Stilgar in this is beautiful. How very much how Stilgar keeps going. It is written. Well, there are some Bene Gesserit texts that say that you shouldn't take the water of life if you are pregnant. It's bad, it's wrong, because you are forcing a child who doesn't have their own mind to be fully conscious with the minds of other adults. And this is really important. It's not just other reverend mothers, it's the whole bloodline. So one of the reasons why Jessica changes so rapidly is suddenly she's got all of that Harkonnen bloodline is known to her. So it's basically wandering around with a Baron on your shoulder, which we will get to because of what happens. Spoiler warning for Alia. When Alia becomes an adult, she can't cope with having all of these other voices inside her head. So she does a deal with the Baron, who's obviously her granddad. Basically, granddad comes and he shuts everybody else up, and he's the one that's speaking to her predominantly. And she's given to full abomination. That is why. So having Paul kill his grandfather in revenge is piss poor, because that's not what happens. It should be the 3-year-old that is Alia. It should be a toddler. And there's a reason for that. And I know people in the David Lynch film make fun about it. And I know in this one they aged her up to be sort of like 6 to do it. But there's a reason. Alia gets the title St. Alia of the Knife. She's born a Reverend Mother. She will always be a Reverend Mother within the Bene Gesserit order. She is incredibly fierce as a fighter, and we didn't get to see that. She's a precocious toddler, and I know people struggle with like otherworldly children and children that are precocious and intelligent and this, that, or the other. But unfortunately, this particular child is everything that she should be. She lives up to it. She murders her grandfather, and it's a brilliant ploy because it actually allows Paul to use something. A, his visions, B, his intelligence, and C, it allows everybody to reveal the fact that Jessica has had another child that is a girl. And that's really important, because even though Grandma, who's still planning, by the way, because she doesn't want to waste Fade, oh no, Fade, the Nar Baron, who's going to inherit Gady Prime because Beast Raban's such a dud, the reason she goes, it's all emotion with her. She loved the Baron, but he rejected her. We know this, even though now she's like, oh no, it's got nothing to do with emotion. And I'm like, love, you've just taken him out and you've used your grandkids to do it and your daughter. You laid a path on a planet for them so that they would survive. It's really telling. The reason she goes to Caledon to test Paul is because she's granny, basically. I'm going and I may or may not have to kill my grandson. I'm going to tell my daughter off. You should have given a daughter. And that's why Alia comes about, because Jessica panics and goes, oh my goodness, we're going to need a girl. We're going to need a girl if Paul fails. That's the Bene Gesserit training in her. Because Grandma's come and she's told me this and she said this, and now I'm like, sorry, man. But my Duke loves me. And she's like, yes, I know. That's why I gave you to him. Because that is why she's there. Because Helen's not going to waste her daughter. Oh, no, no. And the thing is by sending Jessica to Arrakis, not only does she allow her daughter to become a Reverend Mother, hence why you have that lovely sass, like, yeah, you're a Reverend Mother now, aren't you? Yeah, that's good. That's my daughter. Good child. Big tick there. Sorry about your dad. He's dead on the floor in the front of the Emperor's throne. I love the look from the Baron to the throne because he wanted it. He wanted to be Emperor. And I love the fact that when the Baron rises up, he looks like a worm. Cough, cough. Future. Yeah, anyway, moving on. I just love it. Moving on. Yeah, it just didn't sit right. It needed to be done by her. It shows that Paul's so powerful that he doesn't need to send himself to do it. Why do I need to go? I can see the future. All I've got to do is have a fight with Fade. And I love the fact that Fade acknowledges, oh, you've got a pet too. Oh, you're not the first relative I've killed. I killed my mum. Oh, this is really good. We're going to do some cousin bonding before you kill me. Yeah, that was kind of like, oh, is that so? This is cool. This is my cousin. Great. The family's doing really well. Whoever wins this fight, one of us is going to be Emperor. Go family. Yeah, because that's what it felt like. It felt like, oh, yeah, there's my aunt sitting on a throne. It's very telling that as soon as Jessica gets back in, to the capital of Arrakis's imperial palace. They plonk her and find her a big chair, and Jessica just sits in it. And it's very telling that she's like, yeah, I'm a daughter of the Harkonnens. Yeah, I'm also a Reverend Mother. Check out my garb. It's not black. Look, I've got gold on me now. I am a freaking Bene Gesserit queen, and I'm going to own my power. Yeah, I'm currently pregnant with the preborn abomination. Hi, Grandma over there. Hi, Mum. How you doing? Dad's flailing around on the floor. Well, never mind. Hi, new cousin. Bye, cousin. Yeah, you can pretty much see that. The fact that Jessica doesn't have to stand, regardless with her being pregnant or not. She's like, yeah, we're plonking her there. Yeah, bow, 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 bow. Yeah, you can see where the religious fanaticism is going. And as soon as Paul becomes emperor, it's like, we're going off into the ships because the other houses have said no and we're going to attack them. Now, another point, where was the guild? The Mentats were missing. The guild navigators were missing. How is everybody travelling? Thomas Cook! They're supposed to be using the guild. The guild are all male. They are the opposite to the Bene Gesserit. The Bene Gesserit use faith, use super witchery powers to control people. The guild uses spice to fold time for the travel. We did not see any time folding. I did not see them. Where were the guild navigators? Because the reason everybody follows Paul is because the guild navigators change their minds. They look at the emperor and say, he's not working. Paul's here. We're going to work with him. And that forces everybody's hand. And I know that kind of downplays the need for this holy war. But the holy war is needed because these so-called noble houses allowed one of the most noble houses and good dukes to die. Because it's a crime. That's why the Baron and the Emperor get defeated, because legally they have committed a mass crime. That's the reason. Not revenge, not anything else. That's why they get punished. The revenge is just, the Harkonnen and them coming out. As Paul says, right, if we're Harkonnen, we've got to be Harkonnen, I suppose. Kill or be killed. Comes to us all. But that's very important. There were several things in this version I did not like. Though how they treated Phaedra Ban, big tick. I like the fact that they spent time with him. And I like the fact that they actually bothered to show Helen going and collecting a sample so that they could continue that bloodline. And that's for two reasons. One, because of Helen's prior history with the Baron. And two, we're going to need somebody that we're going to control. The Harkonnen bloodline is important. It is a step before the Kwisatz Haderach. So if Paul fails and that whole line wipes out, we've got somebody that we can place, another girl that we can place with another lord, and we can try again. Plans within plans. But the thing is, in this one, I felt the desert power, but I didn't really feel the power of this. The person who sees the future is trapped by it. We kind of saw that, but Paul didn't have that realization. I felt as soon as he, gobbled down the water of life and came back, he was so intent on being the Kwisatz Haderach. Even his mother was like, slow down, Paul, slow down. You didn't have this slow build of, I have survived, bask in the glory of that. Wait a couple of days, then lay out your plans. Slowly get people to follow you. No, he goes full hog and he grabs it with both hands. And I mean, yes, I fully appreciate that's what Harkonnen would do, but where is the Atreides in this? It's really important that there should be a difference. And that's why Chaney in this version is just like, no, you're not fighting for the people. You're fighting for yourself and your position as soon as Gurney Hannock and those subatomic nukes turn up. So yeah, mixed feelings about it. And the graphics, to be honest, they didn't feel, I felt like I was watching a computer game, which was sad. Whereas these versions, I felt that, yes, the graphics were ropey, but they were all needed for the plot. Things were explained, things were done really well. I did like the stealth suits and the way they explained, the sucking out of the fluids, and the fact that they said, oh, the Harkonnens are full of chemicals, but they're really used for the water's still good to cool your suit down. We just don't drink it. That's telling. And you did feel that they were pushed aside too quickly, because that's not actually what happened, because the imperial family, which Paul's family become, the imperial capital becomes Dune. Rightly so, because that's where the makers are. Without the makers, there is no spice. Without the spice, there is no travel. Without the guild navigators, there is no commerce. The economy will collapse and will break down. But seeing as we didn't see any guild navigator anywhere, nor did we see the guild navigators approve the holy war, because that's really important. To get the holy war, you have to have the guild navigators on your side to allow it. We didn't see that. We just saw Stilgar getting onto a spaceship and going off. I'm like, no, that's not how this works. You have to go through the guild. Book purist here. I did like Frances Pugh, her version of Irulan, the Emperor's eldest daughter, was very good, but it was sad that nobody brought up the fact that the Emperor has only daughters, and the reason he has only daughters is because the Bene Gesserit are controlling his line. So at the end of the day, they're going to have a Bene Gesserit trained Emperor, a Bene Gesserit trained Empress. Alia, the sister to the Emperor, is Bene Gesserit, and the mother of the Emperor is Bene Gesserit. So far out of this, I see the Bene Gesserit winning everything, and the Fremen. Bene Gesserit and the Fremen for the win. The guild is conspicuous by its absence. The Harkonnens have not exactly died, but another branch of the family have taken over. So are we sending anybody to Gady Prime to claim it? Or are we just going to let it rot and let some other relative have it? Because they can claim it. Because the thing is at the moment, Paul technically has got control of three planets. Caledon, his home, the home of House Atreides, Gady Prime, the home of the Harkonnens, and Arrakis, the Baron's beloved Dune, as he calls it. It's my Dune, mine. There's so much going on, and I'm loving the fact that they're introducing the characters really slowly. So we had Fade, and we spent a lot of time with him, and then we finally saw the Emperor and his eldest daughter. And yes, we saw Grandma doing her spidering. She's still at it. The Baron was a fool not to have her as his concubine. Could you imagine if the Baron hadn't been such an idiot and got with her full time? They'd have taken over half the galaxy by this point with all their children. Suddenly they'd be marrying the children off into every single house, controlling every single planet, and it would be like Harkonnens for us. Harkonnens are us everywhere. You know, Baron really didn't think that one through, did he? Anyway, so that's why I'm giving it 3 out of 5. And that's not because anybody did poor performances with their acting or the soundtrack. The CGI was a bit ropey in some places. It did look like a video game towards the end. The worms were lovely, but I felt that we didn't learn enough about them, and they're really important. They're focusing on stuff that just isn't important. Where's the lore? Where is the mentats with their lovely, the lips turned stains and stains, and where is the liturgy against fear? I'm loving the fact that we are hearing that. That is the most famous piece. We're not hearing the important words that we should be hearing. The spice must flow. We're not seeing the blue eyes. And I know why, because they want their version to be different and the definitive one. And we're probably going to get Dune Part 3 now. But it really does feel, this one, as if it was designed to do a job. It's done its job, and now we're going to wait for Part 3 to sum it all up. Except we're not, because with Dune it just goes on and on and on. And in fact, to be absolutely honest, I'd recommend watching this one, then I'd recommend watching this, and you're done. If I could hold it the right way up. Because Dune Part 2, the film, terrible. Terrible. There's some things I did like. I did like the fact that Alia was speaking as a fetus. I thought that was really good. But it's perhaps a little bit too soon for that, because she wasn't pre-born. I would understand after Jessica had taken the water of life, we got that. I think that's important. But yeah, 3 out of 5. This review's done. I'm not a happy bunny. So there you have it. Well, I hope you enjoyed my review of Dune Part 2. Please like, comment and subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell for my latest video. Thank you so much for the support, and I'm hoping that you're staying safe wherever you are.